So here we are in week 6 of our survey of church history class here at Shiloh University, and it's called The Seeds of Revolution. And boy, was it ever. Things begin to just exacerbate and roll into what becomes a revolution. And so we have people like John Wycliffe and John Huss. Wycliffe, immediately you think of Wycliffe Bible translators and the Wycliffe organization that published Bibles. But Wycliffe and John Huss were men who stood up against what they saw was the corruption in the papacy and in Rome, and they were executed not for heresy, really. They were executed for things that would be the exact same things that a couple hundred years later Martin Luther would draw everybody's attention to through the 95 Theses and what became the Protestant Reformation. So we have the seeds of revolution. Certainly we have the precursors to the Protestant Reformation. And then we have some other groups that are not really as biblically centered or evangelical, we might even call them in today's world. The Albigenses, and I think I'm saying it wrong, but a group within France that were opposing what they saw in the papacy, but not always for as much a spiritual perspective as what they saw was just politically not correct. So, boy, this week is just a mess when you think about it, where everything is sort of fomenting around the need for a major change. And you can see how God is even allowing the circumstances of culture to rise up to a point where God's purposes will eventually be done. And so this week, as we look at these things, let's just continue to remind ourselves that God is in control, but that God does not superimpose his will upon human will and human decisions. And so as we go through this week, let's look and see how God does raise up people like John Wycliffe, like John Huss. At the same time, we can certainly see how things are just setting in place for what we will soon learn is the Protestant Reformation. So it's going to be an interesting week. Boy, it was not a good time to be a follower of Christ during that period of time in the 13th, 14th centuries. But let's sort of buckle ourselves up and enjoy the ride. And I'll see you guys in the discussion thread.